Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Colonel Commandant of the Madras Sappers, we welcome you to this Sonne Lumiere.
As nostalgia is in the air, it is perhaps befitting to present a few interesting vignettes drawn from the colorful saga of the Madras Sappers. While the tale is told, a kaleidoscope of images will take you on this voyage through time. It is the middle of the 18th century, and all is not quiet on the Coromandel coast. The traditional rivalry between two sets of traders, the British, headquartered at Fort St. George, and the French in Pondicherry, has taken a violent turn. There are regular skirmishes. Vellore, 1761. Manila, 1762. Tanjore, 1771. Pondicherry, 1778. Mahe, 1779. Participating in these operations are temporary companies of pioneers, men hired to dig trenches and saps and develop tracks for gun carriages for a daily wage.
Hurry up. Go on. Don't dawdle. Dig deeper. Another 1 foot.
The fact that the pioneers were neither armed nor trained to fight led to their abandoning their task and fleeing as soon as the first shot was fired.
Come back, Hugh. Finish the job. Damn it. No discipline. Something must be done about this.
And something was done. Lieutenant Joseph Morehouse of the Madras Artillery, in his capacity as the Commissary of Stores, put forward a proposal of raising 2 companies of native pioneers. Putting them in uniform and arming them would, he reasoned, instill military discipline. This proposal gained impetus when the British forces were totally routed by Hyder Ali of Mysore on September 30th, 1780. The Honourable President and Select Committee are pleased to direct that 2 companies of pioneers be raised as soon as possible by the Commissary of Stores, each consisting of 2 sergeants, 3 corporals, 5 havildars, 5 naiks, and 100 black pioneers. The pioneers to be clothed in blue jackets and to be armed 50 with light pistols and 50 with spikes 6 feet long. When these pioneers are raised, they are to be employed with the army to clear and mend roads. With this general order issued on September 30, 1780, the first 2 companies of the Madras Pioneers were raised. They were the early forebears of the Madras Sapper. The 19th century saw the British Empire expand rapidly, within India as well as overseas. Egypt, Assay, Burma, wherever the colonial army went, the Madras Sappers accompanied them. The year is 1834. The place, Coorg, a tiny highland kingdom to the west of Mysore. The 6,000-strong Madras army is battling its way through dense wetland forest to Markara, the capital, in order to depose the Raja. 5 of the 8 existing companies of the Madras Sappers are here, making its movement possible. The Battle of Coorg was won. On its conclusion, a court of inquiry was held to examine the claim of some native soldiers of the Madras army that Havildar Chokalingam of the Madras Sappers and Miners had displayed bravery of a very high order. The claim being satisfactorily established at a special parade.
The Governor-General, as a mark of high sense that entertains the conduct of this non-commissioned officer, confers on him an honorary medal.
Hitherto, only campaign medals had been awarded. This was the very first time a medal was specifically crafted for one man and one man alone. Havildar Chokalingam rose to the rank of a Subedar Major, the first native officer of the Madras Sappers to be thus honored. Let us move forward in time by 10 years. It is 1843, and we are now in Miane, a fortress in Sindh where the 1,600-strong British force under Lord Napier is up against the 20,000-strong army of Baluchis, led by a confederation of Amirs. All is not going well for the British force, which is under enemy fire from the bed of the Fuleli River. There's too much fire. Move up the guns.
There's no way for them to reach us. Too many ditches, sir. Watch out, sir! That was a close shave. Where are our guns?
On their way, sir. My sappers built a track across the irrigation channels. Here comes the artillery.
In the heart of the action, 50 sappers of C Company under Captain Henderson, though armed with only fusil and bayonet, charge spontaneously together with the men of the Cheshire Regiment. The charge at Miane is successful. The timely help and the courageous action of the Madras Sappers wins the hearts of the men of the Cheshire Regiment. In a deeply appreciative gesture, they take off their shakos, their plumed hats, and place them on the heads of the sappers. And so it is that the dutta, a modified form of the shako, remains to this day the trademark headdress of the Madras Sappers. As the century progressed, the Madras Sappers covered much ground. From Miami to Malakand, Abyssinia to Afghanistan, Persia to Peking, Tira to Tibet, they journeyed far and wide, strengthening their reputation for meritorious service everywhere they went. The list of battle honors grew longer. Egypt and Tel el-Kebir, 1882. Suakin and Tofrek, 1885. China, 1900. On the way, they acquired new skills. Special sections for bridging, mining, telegraphy, printing, lithography, and photography were constituted with what was then state-of-the-art equipment. Much before the construction companies came into being, they built railway tracks to link far-flung corners of the world. We are now in the early years of the 20th century. The year is 1914, and we are on our way to the war in distant Europe. Number 2 Field Troop, with its famous Gwalior Tongas, make a colorful spectacle in war-torn France. When the war shifted to the Middle East, the Madras Sappers were part of the Indian Expeditionary Force sent to the region. They were committed in Egypt, Gaza, Palestine, Mesopotamia, Persia, and East Africa. In 1921, as the Expeditionary Force was returning to India, a rather unusual request was made by the officer commanding 10th Field Company to the force commander, Sir Philip Chetwode.
What's this then? You want permission to take an old mule back to India? A mule? Surely you must be aware that all mules are to be sold to the Egyptians.
With due respect, sir, this mule, our grey mule, is rather special. He's one of us. He's been everywhere with us. Chitral, Tira, Malakand, Tibet. Why, he's been in the thick of it here since 1915. A very well-travelled mule, if I may say so.
And
there's the fact that the men love him. He's some kind of a mascot.
a mascot, eh? Well, perhaps just this once. I'll make an exception. All right, you may take your grey mule back to Bangalore.
The Grey Mule joined the Queen's own sappers and miners in 1891 and saw 31 years of service. At the end of the First World War, he returned home and was pensioned off. He was given complete freedom of the lines and all the reverence due to an honored war veteran. At the 150th anniversary held in 1930, the Grey Mule led the march past of the pensioners. When the column reached the spectators, he got a standing ovation. It was the Grey Mule's last parade. Too late for the Great War, but an integral part of all wars thereafter, was the Bangalore torpedo. This unique device was designed to overcome the barbed wire defenses put up by the enemy on the battlefield. The task was entrusted to the Madras Sappers, and after 4 years of trial and experimentation, it was perfected. An amazingly simple device, an iron pipe of adjustable length filled with explosive, that could pierce the heart of the barbed wire obstacle and blow it away.
Zivilisierung einen unbarmherzigen Krieger sagen.
1939. at the start of the bloodiest conflict in human history. The nature of warfare has changed dramatically. Mechanical transport replaces the old horse-drawn carriages. Tanks are introduced for the first time. And there are newly developed mines laid in regular patterns over vast areas by the defender. It was in one such minefield that Subedar Subramaniam of the Madras Sappers displayed unusual bravery and won the first George Cross awarded to an Indian. The place was Mignano, Italy. The date, February 24, 1944. Subedar Subramaniam is in charge of a party of sappers engaged in mine clearing when
My Jamada Jagat Singh is trapped in a minefield. He's alive. I need someone to take him out. Do you have anyone who can help? Anyone?
Yes, sir. Don't worry. I will do it. Hey, Sigamani. Nee kuda va. Namma poi VSL mark pannala. Yes, sir.
Realizing in a flash that his comrade had stepped on a jumping mine which would detonate in 4 seconds, the brave Subedar, without the slightest hesitation, pushed Sigamani aside and absorbed the explosion. He died shortly afterwards. And by his split-second decision, he saved the lives of the men with him. A supreme sacrifice in accordance with the highest traditions of the Indian Army. Let us move now to another theatre of war, where the action is beginning to pick up. Burma, 1944. An army of 500,000 is moving like a huge steamroller towards Chindwin and then Mandalay. Madras Sapper units play a major role in the construction of roads and the capture of Fort Dufferin. Captain Britton and Subedar Jacob of 65 Field Company make a daring recce.
Jacob, there is no way to reach that gate. We can't launch a direct assault. There's nowhere.
Yes, Shab. We will have to go in through this storm drain. It goes under the wall of the fort.
The credit for clearing the main approach and opening the gates of Fort Dufferin goes to 65 Field Company. The capture of Mandalay marked the beginning of the end. On August 15, 1945, the Japanese army capitulated. August 15, 1947, the dawn of Independence Day. From the ramparts of Red Fort, Pandit Nehru addresses the nation. But the celebrations are dampened by the horrendous bloodbath of partition. Meanwhile, trouble of a different nature is brewing in Kashmir. Truckloads of tribals, Afridis, Mohmands, Wazirs have swarmed in to loot the prosperous valley. At that time, 7 out of the 10 companies of the Madras Sappers were in Pakistan guarding refugee columns. "32 Field Assault Company was the first to be inducted into the valley. The raiders had attacked all towns in Jammu province. These had to be relieved or reoccupied. Roadblocks and laying of ambushes by the enemy were a daily affair. In one such incident, Dhobi Ramachandar of 14 Field Company earned a Mahavir Chakra, the first civilian to be so awarded, when he saved the life of an Army Service Corps officer. Meanwhile, in the chilly, wind-blown heights above Srinagar, at 11,500 feet above sea level, lies Zojila, the blizzard pass, freezing cold, with a fairly strong wind, you might say. This is the only route to Ladakh. In 1947, the segment between Baltal and Zojila was no more than a steep yak trek. It had to be converted into a tankable road within 1 month. Undeterred by the extreme cold and the fact that they were under direct enemy fire, 13 and 433 Field Companies under Major Tangaraju accomplished this task. The accomplishment earned the Madras Sappers the first battle honor awarded by independent India, Zojila 1948. January 26, 1950. India becomes a republic. First on its agenda is nation building. The construction of roads, railway lines, airfields, dams and bridges. The usual gamut of peacetime tasks for the sappers. With floods and cyclones being a regular feature, relief work too fell to the sappers' lot. And there were the wars. 1962. A new threat developed from an unexpected direction. The Madras Sappers were in support of troops right from Ladakh in the north to Wolong in the east. They constructed the Leh airfield and maintained Chushul, the highest airfield in the world. 1965 saw our units committed in the Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir, and Kutch sectors. The 1970s, a new decade. Once more, war is forced upon us. India fights on 2 fronts. In East Pakistan, the waterlogged terrain proves a nightmare for the sappers. Their ability to facilitate the movement of a modern army is fully tested, and one of their crowning assets, improvisation, is brought into play. Meanwhile, participating in the Western theatre of the war are 10 Madras Sapper units. The high point of their performance is the role of the 5th and 9th Engineering Regiments in the advance of the 54th Infantry Division from Samba to Zafarwal. The enemy, expecting a major attack, has prepared his defenses. He has made the best use of the natural obstacles such as broken ground and riverbeds, in conjunction with minefields. One such minefield covers the bed of the Basantar River. It is 1,600 yards deep and must be cleared in one night for the armor's advance. On the night of December 11th, a task force of 9 Engineering Regiment under Major Vijay Ratan Chowdhury has commenced breaching the minefields at Chakra. The enemy shelling is heavy. It is also fairly accurate.
Zulu, Romeo, Oscar 1, report on breaching. We have gone up to 200 yards, but shelling is too close and accurate. 2 casualties already taken. Over.
Zulu 1, you know Samapti is figure 0100 hours. Imperative that you speed up the breaching. Over.
Hello, Zulu 1. I will move forward and see what I can do. Over.
Zulu 1, give my regards to the boys and remind them that they belong to the 9. Out for now.
With total disregard for his own safety, Major Chowdhury supervises the task, lending a hand here, encouraging a man there. The safe lane is cleared. The armor moves through. In accomplishing this task, Major Chowdhury makes the supreme sacrifice.
Major V.R. Chowdhury was in charge of minefield clearance of Chakra on the Western Front during Indo-Pak War of 1971. The safe lanes had to be made with great speed to enable our tanks and anti-tank weapons to reach Chakra, which was in imminent danger of a counterattack by enemy armor. With utter disregard to his personal safety, Major Chowdhury personally supervised the operation, inspiring and motivating his men to their optimum efficiency throughout the advance. While supervising the minefield lane near Basantar River, this gallant officer was killed due to enemy artillery fire. Major V.R. Chowdhury's exceptional devotion to duty, extraordinary bravery, inspiring leadership, and supreme sacrifice were in the highest tradition of the army, for which he was awarded the Mahavir Chakra.
Let us move on by a decade and a half. 1987 sees the Madras Sappers in the neighboring country of Sri Lanka. Operation Pavan is underway. The units deployed are 3, 4, and 8 engineer regiments. The engineer tasks include collection and custody of arms surrendered by the LTTE, restoration of power and water supplies to Jaffna town, patrolling the extensive coastline, neutralization of mines, and improvised explosive devices. In one such effort, Major Duleep Singh of 8 Engineer Regiment lost his life. The broken coastline presents a problem. The LTTE use its secret lagoons and hidden inlets to smuggle in arms and explosives. On June 18, 1989, 2nd Lieutenant A.S. Bedi of 417 Independent Field Company spots a few militants trying to escape by crossing a lagoon. He gives chase.
देखो सामने एलटीटी की बोट जा रही है पीछा करो
Our present commandant, Brigadier J.J. Manavalan, was also there in the midst of the action as the Brigade Major of the 41st Infantry Brigade. For his bold initiative, 2nd Lieutenant Bedi was awarded the Veer Chakra posthumously.
Another act of great courage was of Captain B.N.N. Rao of 3 Engineer Regiment. Captain Rao was in charge of clearing a large number of IEDs and booby traps. While carrying out this task, one of his NCOs was seriously injured. Though injured himself, Captain Rao carried him over 500 meters to safety. On the next day, he led his section in clearing 83 IEDs in the face of continuous and heavy militant fire. Despite being severely injured by Claymore mine pellets, resulting in heavy loss of blood, he kept on performing his task till its completion. For this, he was awarded Veer Chakra.
The 90s were a turbulent decade worldwide. In India, they saw the increase of insurgency in the Kashmir Valley. In May 1999, things came to a head at Kargil. There is widespread intrusion along the line of actual control extending from Mushko in the west to Batalik in the east. The enemy is well entrenched. Perched on the hilltops, he has mined all approaches leading to his positions. 2 Engineer Regiment, integral to 3rd Infantry Division, is immediately mobilized. The sapper tasks comprise extensive demining operations, track construction, field defenses, bunker blasting, construction of aerial trolley systems. They work for 4 continuous nights under Gundarman footbridge, under active fire. It is here that Lieutenant Amit Kaul and Lance Naik Karthikeyan lay down their lives. In a mine-clearing operation at Batalik sector, Captain Rupesh Pradhan is severely injured. He is awarded the Veer Chakra.
Captain Rupesh Pradhan volunteered to undertake the enemy minefield breaching himself when his platoon was exhausted from continuous high-risk minefield breaching for the duration of 2 days. The act of the officer inspired his platoon to finish the task of mine breaching in a record time, facilitating early deployment of 5 para. In this, Captain Rupesh Pradhan displayed gallantry, determination and devotion to duty of high order, for which he was awarded Veer Chakra.
The century turns. A new millennium is here. Barely past its first year, India faces another attack. This time, it is the parliament that is under threat from the terrorists. Terrorism, the scourge of the last decades of the 20th century, now reaches a new high. Something must be done to counter it. As 2001 ends, the Indian Army goes on its largest mobilization ever. Operation Parakram has begun. The sappers use the long months in the field for extensive training activities in all sorts of adverse conditions. They lay minefields in the face of enemy fire. Equally daunting was the task of minefield recovery. They improvise and innovate with aplomb. They hone their skills in the execution of various combat engineer tasks. The high standards are evident as casualties are minimal. Let us move now to a different arena, competitive sports, where once again the Madras Sappers have created records and legends. Hockey, boxing, football, swimming, athletics have been the traditional strongholds, yielding as many as 10 Olympians. Outstanding among this galaxy of stars was the late Subedar Major and honorary captain Vijay Peter, who represented India in hockey at the Olympics, not once, but 3 times. There is too Naib Subedar Samsher Khan, a Madras sapper who was the first Indian to represent the country in swimming at the Olympics way back in 1956. Keeping up the tradition, the fastest man in the swimming pool at the national level today is Naib Subedar Sujit. The Arjuna Award is the nation's highest honor given for outstanding achievement in sports. To date, 8 Madras Sappers have been thus honored. Subedar Major Honorary Captain Vijay Peter, VSM, Hockey, 1968. Subedar Major Honorary Captain M. Venu, VSM, Boxing, 1971. Subedar Major Honorary Captain C. Narayanan, VSM, Boxing, 1972. Subedar Major Honorary Captain C.C. Machai, Boxing, 1978. Subedar Major Honorary Captain I. Amaldas, Boxing, 1980. Subedar Major Honorary Captain G. Manoharan, Boxing, 1981. Brigadier K.S. Rao, SC, SM, Yachting, 1981. Colonel P.K. Oberoi, VSM, Rowing, 1985.
On your mark! Set! Go!
That was the fastest man in India, Naib Subedar Anil Kumar, who broke the 36-year-old record of the legendary Milkha Singh and went on to set his own, clocking 10.33 seconds in the 100 meters in July 1999. It doesn't end there. The Army Sports Championship has been the undisputed monopoly of the Madras Sappers ever since its inception in 1996-97.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now request you to stand up for our group song.
வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சென்ற களங்கள் முழுதும் எங்கும் வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சாப்பர்ஸ்கே வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சென்ற களங்கள் முழுதும் எங்கும் வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சாப்பர்ஸ்கே பாரதத்தின் எல்லை காக்க முன்னே செல்லுவோம் பார் முழுதும் சாப்பர்ஸ் பணியில் பேரை வெல்லுவோம் போட்டி விளையாட்டு எதிலும் வெற்றி கொள்ளுவோம் மெட்ராஸ் சாப்பர்ஸ் என்று சொல்லி நிமிர்ந்து நில்லுவோம் வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சென்ற களங்கள் முழுதும் எங்கும் வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சாப்பர்ஸ்கே வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சென்ற களங்கள் முழுதும் எங்கும் வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சாப்பர்ஸ்கே எத்தனையோ சாதனைகள் எங்கும் சாப்பர்ஸ் தம்பிகள் எத்தனையோ சாதனைகள் எங்கும் சாப்பர்ஸ் தம்பிகள் அத்தனைக்கும் துணிவு எங்கள் தலையில் தொட்ட மகுடங்கள் எமது பழைய எதிரை கொண்ட எதிர்க்க எவனும் பிறக்க மாட்டான் வெல்க 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 மெட்ராஸ் சாப்பர்ஸ் வாழ்க வெல்கவே வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சென்ற களங்கள் முழுதும் எங்கும் வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சாப்பர்ஸ்கே வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சென்ற களங்கள் முழுதும் எங்கும் வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சாப்பர்ஸ்கே எத்தனையோ சாதனைகள் எங்கும் சாப்பர்ஸ் தம்பிகள் எத்தனையோ சாதனைகள் எங்கும் சாப்பர்ஸ் தம்பிகள் அத்தனைக்கும் துணிவு எங்கள் தலையில் மகுடங்கள் எமது படைய எதிரை கொன்று எதிர்க்க எவனும் பிறக்க மாட்டான் வெல்க 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 மெட்ராஸ் சாப்பர்ஸ் வாழ்க வெல்கவே வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சென்ற களங்கள் முழுதும் எங்கும் வெற்றியதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சாப்பர்ஸ்கே தம்பி வெற்றி எதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சென்ற களங்கள் முழுதும் எங்கும் வெற்றி எதிலும் வெற்றி தம்பி சாப்பர்ஸ் கே
Thank you for attending our show tonight. We take pleasure in introducing to you the people responsible for putting this Sonne Lumiere together. Lieutenant Colonel R.R. Nair, Subedar Gopal, the script was written by Mrs. Madhavi Mahadevan. The Chief Coordination, Mr. Nandish. The creative direction was spearheaded by Mr. Ashish Kotare, and the sets were created under the able guidance of Mr. Arun Sagar. Audio visuals for the event were coordinated by Mr. Suresh Mayasandra, and the sound recording and lighting design is by Mr. Shaman Ibrahim. Narration was by Mr. Jagdish Raja, and character voices by Ashish Sen, Shaman Ibrahim, Ashish Kotare, Justin Jacob, and the Sappers. The event was managed by Reach Events.